to Win LLC. Love, leadership, and the courage to begin again. Hosted by Melanie Kenneman. Let's begin.
I'm so excited to welcome you to a whole new chapter in my life. You know, I've shared with many of you that I've recently written a book that's coming out very soon, and it's actually called Playing to Win LLC, which stands for Love, Leadership, and the Courage to Begin Again. And so, with that, you know, that's like kind of my story of coming back to myself. And so, I wanted to start this podcast and have extraordinary guests on there that I find, you know, have that courage to begin again, or they live their life with love, or they live their life with leadership. And there's so many extraordinary stories out there in the world. I'm really excited to, you know, have the inaugural episode of this. And I picked somebody really special I thought would be perfect for this, who has such just a champion mindset and has had a very interesting path and is constantly kind of reinventing himself. And I think he's the perfect guest because for me, it's not about perfection, right? Winning is not about perfection at all. Winning is about just being the best that you can be and constantly just tapping into your most authentic talents and who you are. And you know, so the people I have on the show will be people you've never heard of before. But I think the one that's on today you might have heard of. So I'm just gonna say welcome to the show, the one and only Jackson Jeffcoat. Welcome.
Thank you, Melanie. Appreciate you having me. As I always say, welcome.
I was gonna say that's not that little UT thing. Actually, you kind of have an orange thing going on too.
Yeah, I got my Longhorn
Oh,
stuff on.
okay. All right. Well, that's very cool. Well, you know what, Jackson, there might be some people, my listeners, that don't know who you are. And, you know, I know that you played for UT and all the things, and you were an All-American, and then you went into the NFL and then in Canada and all the things. And then you left that a few years ago. But I really want to ask some questions and get to know you as a person
For
and really
sure.
share with our listeners, like, because now I think something that you do that's really extraordinary that really touches my heart is you help people that have had like athletic careers, like you inspire them, like what's that identity after being a star performer in an athletic arena. But tell us the Jackson like people would know about you, things that what are you known for? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so went to the University of Texas, like you said, played there for 4 years, was an All-American there, played football. Went on and played the NFL with the Washington Redskins, now the Washington Commanders. Played there for 2 years. After that, I went to the Browns, got injured, uh, couldn't get on the team. And so after a year, I went out to play in Canada. And so I played in the CFL for 6 years, for 6 seasons. Played with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Won two Grey Cups, which that's the Super Bowl out there. So I
Awesome.
was fortunate enough to play in that game 4 years in a row, my last 4 years.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, and then so that's what people kind of know about you. I think there's other things that people probably know about you. I mean, you grew up in this in like this industry, football all around you, right?
Yeah, my dad played with the Dallas Cowboys. He played with Dallas for 12 years. And then he played with Buffalo for his last 3 years. But he won two Super Bowls with Dallas back to back, kind of like I won back to back Grey Cups with Winnipeg. So it was kind of cool for us to share that.
Yeah, that's so cool. So, like growing up with a kid where your dad plays football, though, that must have been something, right? Like that must have been kind of like every kid's dream. Like, did you go to the games and stuff?
Yeah, I grew up going to the games. It was special. But my dad outside of football just was like my superhero. He was a hero to me. He was an amazing man, and he still is. And always looked up to him and my mother.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So when did you know, like at what part of your journey did you know that like this was the path you wanted to take, that you also wanted to play football?
Yeah, that's a good question because in high school, I wasn't even sure if I wanted to play pro football or even go play in college. I was a basketball player. My dad didn't want me to play basketball or play football until high school. And if he had his way, he wouldn't let me play until college. He wanted me to go play basketball. He wanted me to run track. He wanted me to do other sports because to him, football's a sport you can pick up later. And so I thought I was going to be a pro basketball player. but I didn't grow as tall as I was supposed to be. I was supposed to be 6'7". Uh,
And
Ended
how
up being
tall are
6'4",
you?
six
Okay.
four, which
All
is
right.
not short,
Shorty.
but in my family maybe, but not normal people.
So then but what made you at what point then pick football? Because you said you'd mentioned that you played basketball and football and you really could have gone either way in college, right? Like what made you decide to follow the football route instead of basketball?
Yeah, I actually had the opportunity to play both in college. It just
Yeah,
was a lot. The biggest reason for me is one, colleges were giving me more attention in football.
gotcha.
And as far as my height goes, like I was like, that's my best route to go play pro. I thought. Because everybody's like, his dad was a pro football player. He's gonna play for pro football too.
Okay, gotcha. Another thing you mentioned is like you had a lot of accomplishments early on, like already in high school, right? But between high school, growing up, and you said you entered football not until like later anyway. You didn't play like as a 5-year-old like most people do, right? Like little boys. You didn't do
Like most Texans.
like Texans exactly. And but from anything in your journey, because there's been a lot of directions that you've gone, like what accomplishments are you most proud of, Jackson?
You know, well, if we start back in like middle school, my basketball team, we won AAU nationals 3 years in a row. We almost won the fourth year. So I had a really, really, really good basketball team growing up. And I still have, the reason I bring that up is because I'm proud to still have friends from those teams and still be friends with a couple guys. And a couple of those guys are still playing overseas,
That's
playing basketball overseas.
that's wonderful.
I really kept in touch with a lot of those guys and made some really long-lasting friendships.
Oh, that's really cool. So part of your accomplishment is like the relationships around along the way, right? Because everything you've played is like team sports, right? So there's a lot of, it's a we thing, like to win on a team, right? It's like so the camaraderie and everything. I love that. So that started middle school for you, this competitive, like really competing and winning, that feeling. So what did excellence require from you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it required me to one, lose a little bit of my social life as far as in school, losing some of the normal activities people would do in summer. Kind of lost my summers because
Yeah.
I was playing select basketball growing up. In high school, I was doing track, basketball, and football, and so there wasn't really an off-season time. So I
Yeah.
think that pursuit of excellence kind of made me lose a little bit of quality time with friends or quality time with even family because we were always traveling around doing something.
Yeah. What'd you do in track? Were you a runner or what'd you do?
So early on, I was in the 4x1, I ran the 100. Because I played so much basketball, I ended up just throwing. So I threw shot put and discus.
Yeah, nice. Okay, awesome. Okay, so here, let's shift gears to the story that people don't really know about you, okay? Like, what did people not see behind the scenes of your journey? Like the superstar, all-American, goes to
Yeah,
NFL, all that. Like, what was going on
yeah.
behind the scenes that people didn't see?
People didn't see how broken I was after I didn't get drafted.
Tell us
Like
more
that.
about that because people might not know that you were one of the top picks, right, in the country as far as like your reputation and things like that. And then tell us what happened because people probably don't know that.
Yeah, I was top three in sacks in the country coming out of college. I was an All-American, thinking that I'd get drafted third, fourth, fifth round, and I went undrafted. And my agent couldn't tell me why. No one could tell me why. Teams couldn't tell me why. And it had broke me because it was at that time it did. I didn't let myself stay down for long, but my whole childhood was focused on the NFL. I always focused on the NFL. So if I was going to play, that's where I was going. And that was like my one goal. Like my goal wasn't go to Texas. My goal wasn't to play in college. My goal was to play in the NFL and be like my dad. And so to me, not getting drafted was one, embarrassing. Two, I was a failure.
Mm.
And it was I was a failure after I thought that I put everything out there and did everything I could be successful. And so it was just a hard lesson for me to learn that it's like take comfort in the work that you put in, and because even though the result might not be the result that you wanted, fall in love with that process more than you fall in love with the result.
Mm.
Don't be tied to the outcome because the outcome could made me so much better as a
Yeah.
person. Even as a player, not getting drafted made me have to dig deep and find something inside of me to be better because I was already put at a disadvantage.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people in that point would have actually maybe quit. I don't know, like, but you know what I mean? From an ego perspective, it's like, oh my gosh, my whole dream, everybody, and then what just happened? Like, it takes a lot of courage to like get yourself back out, get readjusted, because then right after that, like you didn't quit. Like that's
I
not what you
couldn't,
did.
that was the goal. I couldn't quit. It wasn't in my DNA. It wasn't how I was raised. I mean, you see it through. Like you see your thing, you see it through. Like if I get cut, if I don't make it, okay, so be it. But if you don't try, you never know. And you're gonna always have this constant regret of like, well, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that.
Well, what I love about it is you didn't allow that to define you, right? You didn't allow that moment to define who you were as a person or how your career would be because you went on to do extraordinary things after that. So, what was the hardest part? I mean, I don't want to dwell on this or anything like that, but it's like what was the hardest, and it doesn't have to be about the moment that you weren't drafted, but that whole period, like what was the most challenging of that, feeling like, wow, that's shocking, I didn't get drafted, and then okay, what now? And pivoting, like what was hard about that for you, or a challenge that you had to overcome?
Well, there's two things. One was ego. My ego told me that I deserved to be this. I deserve this. I deserve that. I mean, we, you don't deserve anything. You have to go work for anything you get. And so I had to check my ego. And two, the hardest part was identity and kind of what I talk about with former players.
Sure.
You're, a lot of us wrap our because we do so much with our sport. We're we're constantly focused on it, hyper focused on it. We get so wrapped up in our identity in our sport if we're playing basketball, football, whatever we're playing. And a lot of people, when that sport is gone, you lose your identity. You don't know who you are anymore. And so my dad always told me this, and I use it to this day and say it because I believe it wholeheartedly. Football was something I did. It's not who I am. And that's why people look at me and they're like, "Oh, you don't watch football? Oh, you don't cheer for anybody?" I was like, "Not really. Like I'll watch it if it's on, if it's a good way to hang out with friends. Yeah, I'll watch. But it's not who I am. It's just something I did. And so it's fun to watch, but it's not like if I miss it, so be it.
I love that. Was there a moment through all that, and then we'll get out of this conversation, but was there a moment through that part that you actually doubted yourself at all? Like, did doubt come in for you once the ego hit, or did you just think like, man, I'm going to show them, and because you had great tenacity and perseverance and you didn't give up, and I love that about your story is you didn't let that stop you or define you.
There was doubt, there was fear, there was sadness, there's a mix of emotions that really it was draining. It it made it hard to compete the way that I need to compete. And so I had to combat that and learn that I could let all that go. I'm the underdog now. I have nothing to lose now. Just have fun, play. Just play the game I love.
Did it change the game for you in that, because that's my next question is what kept you moving forward? Like, did that change it? Like, wait, this didn't just get handed to me. Hold on a second, this is not how this was supposed to be. And then you're like, now I'm the underdog. Now I'm going to show them that they don't get to define me. Was it that kind of thing? Or like what helped you to keep moving forward and not give up on yourself and keep moving forward in that moment?
Yeah, the biggest thing was one being the underdog. That was huge because it's just I grew up as a son of a former NFL great, Everybody was like, "Oh, he's been given this. Oh, he needs to fit these shoes. He needs to do that." And so now I'm just like, "Well, I'm already a failure, so I can do whatever I want." And so I got cut after an injury. I got cut again. Went a year without playing. I was really digging into the identity piece and learning, like, look, this could be over right now.
Yeah.
And so, who am I? What do I do? What do I stand for? Like, this could be done now. So, figure out who you are. And that was helpful. I was depressed for a bit. I went through a lot. And then I get a call saying, hey, you should go keep playing. Go play in the Canadian Football League. At least you can get film and possibly come back to the NFL. And so I took a chance, went up there. Didn't plan on staying there for 6 years, but I did. And it was great.
I think what's interesting about that is that I think originally you said yes to that with the intention of getting back to NFL. I think I heard you say that in an interview or something at some point.
Yep.
And then it became something else though, right?
It became more fun. There was more camaraderie because the NFL is great because you get paid well, but you don't know if you're going to get cut at any minute. You're always stressing. They're always looking for the next guy. You never feel safe and secure there. And that was part of being undrafted. And so that was the life that I felt there. And so I felt a lot more secure in the CFL. Obviously, I think I had trust issues just because of all that happened with me in the NFL.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I felt pretty secure and felt good. It's funny though, all that fun I had in Canada, I didn't even get the chance to ride off into the sunset. My ending was not quote unquote, it wasn't great, but I think it was just my time to go. It was just my time to retire. It was my time to start doing my life at the ball.
What year was that? Because you and I met when you were exploring like real estate and stuff like that. What year did we meet? What year was that? Because you were still in Canada when we met.
Yeah, I think we met right before, it would have been
Wasn't it right
2019.
before COVID? Yeah, exactly. That's what I
Yeah.
was thinking. Yeah, and I remember you were still like, but you were looking like long term and stuff like that. I remember that. Okay, so I want to switch gears now to the courage to begin again, right? Because that's what this is. It's like, man, things happen to the most amazing people. Like, people probably that follow your story don't really know like what it took to be you, kind of thing, right? Just starting
Hmm.
growing up the way you grew up with amazing parents, but also those are big shoes to fill in, right? And then your own identity and letting that not define you and everything. But the courage to begin again, you can take this at after football or whatever you want to do with this or after college, but what chapter of your life, and you pick this answer, what chapter of your life required the most courage to begin again?
That's a really good question. I think retiring from football in general took the most courage because I was so used to having an off season, 6 months, being able to do my travel. Now I'm at a point where I'm not getting paid. I don't have a job. I have a real estate license, but I don't have a job. I did maybe a deal or two, and I didn't want to get into residential. I didn't think it was my calling. I wanted to stick with commercial and was interviewing with a bunch of commercial brokerages, and it just was not working for me. And so I went and interviewed with the company that I am with now, and well, more so just networking with them.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, you seem like somebody we would want to hire. Like, would you think about doing this?" And I said, I don't know if I'm ready right now. I told them that. And they were like, "Well, we'd love to bring you on. We'll keep meeting, getting together." So I met with them like a month later. They actually offered me the job. And so I told them, hey, please give me a month. Let me think about it. And they did. And so I ended up taking the job. But I think that I was at a low point. I moved out of my like an Airbnb I had. I had a tough breakup right after I retired.
Was that Canada or here?
That was here in
Oh,
Austin. I
okay.
moved right back
Oh,
after
you did.
I
Okay.
When I retired, I was here in the States and I just stayed. I wasn't going back out there. I didn't live there year round. I lived there half the year and lived here the other half
Yeah,
of
so
the.
that was a tough time.
Yeah, it wasn't fun. Wasn't fun having to live at my sister's house. Wasn't fun having to, I mean, she lives up in Gerald, so traveling into downtown from Gerald is a hike.
It is for sure. Okay, so okay, I don't want to be redundant, but what ended because you retire, right? Like what ended that you weren't ready to let go of, but it seems like you were ready to let go of that.
It felt like both. I was ready,
Okay.
but I wasn't. What ended was my training. What ended was going back up there to play because I had lots of friends in Canada. So in Winnipeg. So I left those friends. Like I went out for a wedding, I think it was last year. And like I got to see people. I was back in Winnipeg for the first time in a year and a half, 2 years. And it just felt different. It felt like we hadn't seen each other in a while. Just seeing so many people. Everybody's like, you're back in town. So I'm trying to like do a meet up with everybody in the city when I can and like see people at the game. Like fans are coming out and it was just
Are you like a
that
big deal in Canada? Like, did they
I
recognize
was
you?
not I wouldn't say in Canada.
Well, you never know.
You never know. I did get up to everybody's team. So
Exactly. I bet they knew you. Yeah, exactly. What did beginning again teach you about yourself? I think that's a really good question. What did beginning again, starting over, leaving something that your whole life you're like, this is my world. And then when you finally decided football and you did great and all the things, and then you ended up getting an NFL, then you decided Canada, all that. And when you decided to finally just literally like what that teach you about yourself as a person?
you're saying when I left
Yeah,
and
when you left,
retired.
start over. Uh-huh. Yeah. Like what did you learn about yourself through that, through all that difficult transition? Because it's always usually a growth opportunity for ourselves when something like that happens. That's where I'm going with that.
Yeah. I learned kind of about my resilience. That was a big thing because I continue to make things work and try to make things work and understanding, okay, this is not working. What else is working? Because this door is closed. I'm not going to keep trying to bust open a closed door. I also learned that more about my interest. I learned like, okay, well, I've been doing sports for this long. Uh, I like anime. I like fishing. I like swimming. I still like working out. I like to travel. I like to hike. I'm just going into things. I still like playing video games. I actually like reading. I like reading. I like speaking languages, learning languages. Like I started learning different things about myself that maybe wouldn't have had the time to learn.
Yeah. Well, it comes back to the identity thing too, right? Where you were saying it was what you did, it's not who you are, right? And who you are, all these
Exactly.
other things. And that's my whole thing is like we're always there. We're always there, but sometimes we just forget and put all those other parts to the side, right? And then so it's so exciting when you actually wake up those other parts of yourself. You're like, "Ooh, yeah, I like languages. I like to travel and all the things." It's like that's who I am, right? Okay, let's move
Yeah.
to leadership. I have a feeling I know what you're going to say on this one, but who was the most influential leader in your life?
Yeah, you probably know. I would say my father. My father probably is the most influential leader in my life. He kind of showed me how to lead, how to work. Um, I think I learned a lot from him. Um, but that's an easy answer. So
So besides dad, is
besides
there
my
anyone else,
dad,
which is a great person. I talk about my mom a lot, right? So and that's not there's no right or wrong. Is there anybody
yeah,
else or is it dad? I mean, that's a pretty big dad to have that's Super Bowl champ and I mean, he was a real
for
influence,
sure,
you know?
for sure. But like I said, that's an easy answer. It
Yeah.
he is. But the next guy is Mike O'Shea, my coach out in Winnipeg, the head coach. I learned a lot about leadership through him, kind of humble leadership, being able to listen, being able to know your personnel, knowing your players, knowing how somebody gets motivated, how others don't, and being able to bring out greatness in everybody. I mean, the dude knew how to talk to people. He knew how to get get it out of you. He knew how to get the best out of you. He knew how to make you better. Um, and that was special. Very grateful for my time with Coach O'Shea. I originally didn't trust him, and I think that again, like I said, having trauma from the NFL, how people to me felt like I got snaked. So, but we became very close, and I think he's one of the better leaders that I've ever experienced and been around.
That's so cool. And I love that that's towards the end of that for you. So, are there any leadership lessons that you learned along the way that serve you today? Like, I bet there are so many for you, right? Like, how can there not be? But I just
Yeah.
love that question. Is there anything in particular that you learned through that journey of everything you went through that shows up in your life today?
One of the leadership pieces that I think that I use every day is treating people as humans, connecting with people. Talk to people about their day. Talk to people about their life. Get to know them, where they're from, what makes them excited. Get to know other people's interest. I mean, when you show interest in other people, magically they show interest in you.
Yeah, it's so fascinating. I always find that people are so concerned and so like consumed with being interesting, right? They want to be interesting. It's like, how about you try being interested, you know? And when you're interested in others, all of a sudden, guess what? You become interesting because it just opens people up. Like something the last 5 years, right? So 5 years isn't quite long enough, but something in the last maybe three years, because it's been about 3 years since then, right? Wasn't that in 23 or when was that? 23?
Yeah, at the end of
Yeah.
2023,
Like
beginning.
what's something that's changed your mind and your own way of thinking and leadership since walking away? That is like a leadership lesson that you carry and inspire other people with, or just for yourself.
Yeah, I think it's learn people, learn how people are motivated because not everybody's the same. Somebody might get offended by the way you talk. Somebody might be motivated by like maybe getting a little louder. Like people are just different. People have different motivators. And so learn people, get to know them. Not like don't learn them like they're some type of object. Learn them like a human being that's changing, growing, evolving. Learn them and continue to grow yourself. I think that's a big thing for me. Once you learn somebody, you can help them more. You're able to get down there with them and understand what they're going on, like empathy, be
Yeah.
empathetic.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I can totally see that. Okay, fun questions. Ready? Fun
Let's
questions. These are
go.
all like forward thinking now. So, favorite question I ask everybody on the other podcast I used to do, it's on my wall, and it's the theme of my book and this show is what is playing to win like look like for you? Like, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, playing to win to me is waking up, showing up, doing your best, working hard, being kind. I think playing to win is not always about being people think like playing to win is being aggressive, but like when you're playing to win, you're playing with others. So you got to collaborate.
Yeah, exactly. Has your definition of that, Jackson, changed over time, or has it always kind of been that for you?
No, I think it's changed. I think I was very much in the play to win that I'm going to beat you. I'm beating everybody. I have to be the best. That's how it originally was, and now I feel more collaborative.
Okay, I love that. And so, what are you winning in now that has nothing to do with your profession?
Yeah, what am I winning in now? Taking care of my mental health, being a dog dad, taking care of my physical health. I
Mhm.
think that I'm winning in that and having fun with friends.
I love that. Okay, so who saw your greatness in you before you saw it in yourself? Isn't that a great question? Because I'm all about
Yeah,
the greatness, seeing greatness in others, and sometimes people can see it before we even see it in yourself. Who saw that in you before you even saw it in yourself?
the first people I would say are my parents. My parents were the first that kind of like spoke life into me. Another person that I don't talk about as much is my older brother. Man, you would think that I'm like LeBron James. Like this guy sings my praises all the time. He's like, Jackson, you don't realize, man, you could be still be playing in the NBA today. Like you were that good. And the funny thing about it is that he's like, he says that, and then I talked to my other buddy that I played basketball, and he was like, bro, you're that guy and you still got it now. And I'm like, man, stop. Why are you all in this together lying to me? That's what I had to come and realize that, okay, well, now I just got to pass my genes on so that my kid can do that for me.
Exactly. Okay, so how about this is an interesting question. What's something that you lost along the way at some point, whenever that was, that ultimately helped you find yourself?
I lost my chance of being a big time NFL player. I think the way the NFL is today, the work that I needed done, like people lose themselves
Mm.
and all that money, all that fame, people lose themselves. Now, I don't think I would lose myself, but I think going through what I went through hard prepared me for the life challenges that I've dealt with now. And I've dealt with many, lots that I don't necessarily talk about, but I've made it through. Instead of just surviving them, I thrive through them. And that's my goal, to thrive through things.
I love that. Is there anything, any belief about yourself that you had to unlearn?
Yeah, yeah, I probably still am unlearning it. But I think I thought being hard on yourself was kind of like loving yourself, and it's not. It's the opposite. Like loving yourself is being kind to yourself. You know how they talk about treating yourself like your inner child, kind of speaking to yourself more kindly. I've been working on that more instead of being like, I'll give you an example, like, damn, that was dumb, Jackson. Why'd you do that? And instead being like, hey, it's okay, bro. You're
Yeah,
good. Like people make mistakes. And so changing the way that I talk to myself, because people don't realize it. A lot of times the way you talk to yourself is how it can come out and you talk to other people like that.
for sure. Absolutely, right? And actually talking to how you talk to yourself is the most important person that you're talking to, right? So I love that answer. How about this question? Like, when do you feel most alive?
That I feel most alive. That's a really good one. And I'm gonna go with the first thing I thought. When I'm in the ocean, when I'm in at a beach in the water, it just something about the power of the water, the waves. I love being in the water. It's just so nice hearing the waves just splashing. It's one of my favorite things to do. The only thing that can make it better is if I'm out there fishing and catching something. So,
Like, what's the one thing about yourself? Like, who are you still becoming right now? Because you know, 3 years is not a huge amount of time, right? And you're doing a
mhm.
lot of personal work. And, you know, like, what is that for you? All works in progress, right? We're all like working towards either being more in touch with who we really are and all our hobbies or what. Is there something for you that you're excited about? Like, I feel like I'm just on the tip of that and I'm just learning about that, or I'm looking forward to this about myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I think one of the biggest things for me is learning that I can strive to be greater and continue to be greater, but also be comfortable with who I am. Because if I'm always trying to improve, I'm not accepting and enjoying who I am now. Because I know this, and I've said this a lot, is that little Jackson would be like telling my parents, like, can I go hang out with Big Jackson? Can I go hang out with him? He's so cool. Like I really like him. Like, can I see him? Like I just want to hang out with him because I know how I am. I mean, I am me. So it's kind of cool to think of that because then I'm like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm where I'm supposed to be.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so last question, then we're going to go into a lightning round, okay?
Let's do it.
All right, so if someone who's listening with us right now, which hopefully there are many people, Somebody's standing at the edge of a new beginning, right? Something new in their life that's unfamiliar, whatever. What would you want them to know? What advice would you have for them?
Believe in yourself. Not everybody's going to believe in you. Believe in yourself. Know that there are things that you can't see, but you can obtain them. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's unattainable. And so believe in it. Work for it. Sometimes you'll get pushed off that path. And then you'll see, like, oh, I've been working for this, but this is even better and more obtainable. And so believe in yourself and keep going.
That's so good, right? Everything starts with believing in yourself. And it's funny because even when you start going towards it, right? Like you said, you may think it's that thing, but then that like reveals something completely different, but you're in movement, right? And you're in self-confidence,
Exactly.
right? And sometimes the world just opens up to you and you didn't even expect it to be that, right? It's pretty cool. All right, this is lightning round. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
These are like either or. So ready?
Okay.
Football or basketball?
Basketball.
Austin or Dallas?
Austin.
Mountains or beach?
Beach.
A morning person or night owl?
Big time morning person.
Favorite athlete of all time?
Favorite athlete of all time. Probably LeBron James.
One word people would use to describe you.
Smiley.
One word you'd like to that you'd describe yourself with.
Warrior.
Warrior. I like that. A book everyone should read.
Let Them. The Let Them Theory. It's a really good by Mel Robbins.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. She was at one of our conventions a couple years ago. She's amazing, right? And she was talking
I'm
about
so
that.
I'm so jealous. I want to meet her.
Oh, she's amazing. Okay, what's something you're surprisingly good at?
Surprisingly good at that people wouldn't know. Speaking languages. I'm very good at speaking languages. I'm not as good at speaking Spanish anymore. I understand it really well. I've kind of got out of practice, but I speak Portuguese fluently.
That's amazing. So you have three languages basically that you can at least get by with, or are there more?
Three languages that I can get by with. Other languages I can say hello and get needs, but like French and what's the other one? Probably Japanese.
What's something you're terrible at?
Something I'm terrible at. Losing. I
That would
hate
make sense.
losing.
Yeah, that would make sense. How about favorite guilty pleasure food?
That's a good one. Guilty pleasure that I can think of. I like ice cream, and I shouldn't be eating dairy, but I like ice cream.
Ice cream is yours. Okay, how about coffee or tea?
Tea.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise.
Introvert or extrovert?
You know, this one, it depends on how I feel. I think I'm an extroverted introvert. I think I'm more, well, I think as I've gotten more comfortable with myself, I've become more of an extrovert.
Okay. Last song you had on repeat.
Last song I had on repeat, it was something J. Cole. And, I'm trying to remember the name of the song. His last album, The Fall Off, is really, song called The Fall Off is Inevitable by J. Cole.
And is it just, does it mean something to you or?
It's kind of hit at the right time. Like I,
Okay.
I'm technically was falling off. I fell off football. I fell off. But like the fall off from football is not a fall off from life. And that's kind of what J. Cole is saying. Like technically he's falling off being like at a rap, but like it's not really a fall off. Like he's still growing, he's still getting better.
Yeah. It's kind of like a step into, right? Kind of thing. That's pretty cool.
Exactly.
How about your biggest pet peeve?
Biggest pet peeve. Smacking your food.
Mm.
Like if we're around and people are just
Oh yeah.
it's real
Rude,
hard.
right? So rude. Yeah. Okay, how about a hidden talent?
Hidden talent. Huh. 'Cause
Singer?
I can sing a little bit. I can sing a little bit. There's something that I did, swimmer. I think just in general, I can pick up sports really easy. I think they're easy. Anything that has to do with coordination, I'm really good at, maybe just because I was a pro athlete. But man, what would I say my hidden talent is? Oh, I think I'm like a dog whisperer slash baby whisperer.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. They're just calm around you kind of thing, or what?
Yeah, like there hasn't been, I mean, if it's their nap time, maybe, but there hasn't been a lot of dogs that don't like me, and there hasn't been very many babies that don't like me.
You could be a politician then still. That's in your future.
Oh man, I wanted to be at one point in time.
Yeah, right. Oh gosh, didn't we all the achievers, right? I don't know. Well, maybe that's in your future. Best advice you've ever received.
Best advice. So I used to train with a guy named Tim Crowder. He played at Texas as well. He's older than me. We didn't play together. He's a national championship guy. He told me, "You're too coachable." He said, "You're too coachable. You know how to play football. You know how to do certain things. Just go and do it. Not every coach, don't take everything every coach teaches you. Sometimes you got to say, look, coach, I'll do what you need me to do, but I'm gonna do it my way." That's
So
a hard thing to do.
that is a hard thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because that's a tough one, right? Because you're there and the coach is telling you one thing, but it's basically was saying like, don't lose who you are, right? Like, don't lose what you know instinctively, right? And so what
Exactly.
I love that, that like even on my social media, it's like don't let I have on there like don't let the world change who you are, let who you are change the world because everybody's looking at life through their perspective and you bring your own unique, your body better than anybody. You know what I mean? Like so combining the two being coachable but also not forgetting who you are and your talents, I think that's really great advice. We're excited about right now.
One thing I'm excited to go to Brazil. I'm excited to go to Brazil in September. I'm a
You're a big Brazil fan.
big Brazil fan. Brazil won today. I got to cheer for my home country, USA, on Wednesday. But I think Brazil's like a second home to me. So in
What
late
is it about
September.
that you think? What do you think about Brazil? What is it about Brazil for you that you just love so much?
Yeah. I think I just feel like a deep spiritual connection to Brazil, to Brazilian culture. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of similarities between Afro culture here and the Afro culture there. It's a lot of similarities, so it feels like at home
Hmm.
when when I'm there. It's pretty dope.
If you could have dinner with anyone, alive or dead, who would it be?
I think a big one for me is because I have kind of a revolutionary mind is, and some people might not like this, but Malcolm X, formerly Malcolm Little. I think I would love to pick his brain on kind of his views, how his experiences shaped his views. If looking at the world now, what would he change? What 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 does he think he could have done better in his life? What does he think that he did really well in? And so I think that'd be cool. I've read a Malcolm X book. I've watched a kind of a movie on him. I find him to be very interesting because not many people change their minds so publicly as he did. And so I find it very interesting and pretty humble.
That's awesome. I love that. And you think about like that wasn't that long ago, really, right? It wasn't that long ago, but it feels like a lifetime ago, kind of like that
Yeah,
how we live our lives today. I mean, we still have other issues that we deal with, but it's like that was a lifetime ago and it wasn't even that long ago, right? And so it's so fascinating.
seriously.
So a lot of those thought leaders were so ahead of their time and all that, right? And it's extraordinary. All right, so as we wrap up, Jackson, first of all, I want to thank you for being my first guest. Woohoo! It's such an honor to have you. Yay! And what did I not ask you? What did I not ask you? Because this audience is all about, living their best life, like coming back to who they are. Things are going to happen to you and don't give up. The whole point of I want people's stories about it, it's real easy when you're an achiever. They think, oh, your life is easy. Oh, your dad was a, football superstar, so it just was easy for you. That's why part of why I wrote the book. They're like, Melanie, oh, her life was easy. And it's not a victim thing. It's like, no, actually it wasn't. And it was actually there was a lot of pain. And with that though, we have choices. We have choices to live with love and lead with love and have leadership lessons along the way, and then have the courage to begin again wherever you are in your life, whatever your age, whatever is going on in your world, right? And so with that, knowing that's the message and the vision that I have for this podcast, and why I think it's so great that you're my first guest, because I think you lived and experienced that at a very young age. What did we not mention, or what would you want to leave the listeners with?
This is a somewhat maybe trivial, but continue to do the hard things. I'm picking the saxophone back up. I'm going to try to learn it again. I'm going to try to start. My uncle passed away maybe 6, 7 years ago, and I inherited his electric guitar. And I went to go watch a friend of mine perform, and she's like, I'll teach you how to play the guitar. And so I might try to learn the guitar and relearn the saxophone again.
I love
Do
that.
hard things.
Do
Do
hard
hard
things.
things.
Do hard things. And that I love that, because you're always going to grow. And I think when you do hard things and you do it and you've done it, then you're like, wow, I did that. Like I did that. If I can do that, what are the other things that I can do, right? And it's kind of
Exactly.
like how I'm so excited about my book right now, because I'm like, if I could do that and put myself out there so vulnerably to the world, because if one person gets something out of that and chooses themselves and lives a more fulfilling life, then it was worth it for me, right? But I'm like, wow, what else can I do? Like it's like you're never done. Like put yourself out there. The thing that you go out for, like learning guitar or saxophone or whatever instrument it is that you want to play, or singing, or whatever, like you never know what the thing that you, and it's funny because I put that in my book, is like pickleball is something I didn't talk about in the book, but do something new and it may be your next like love of your life. You have no idea.
Yeah.
Surfing in Brazil, I don't know, right? But they like look at you with Brazil, but put yourself out there and do it, but do hard things too, and be okay with looking, not being perfect, and right, like be
For
okay with
sure.
failing, because that's how you learn, right?
Exactly. It's how you learn. And I'm excited for your book as well. I can't wait.
Coming out, coming out. Jackson, I am so excited for your future and just all the amazing things that you're going to experience in your lifetime. And I think, one thing we didn't really talk much about, but I know that a lot of what you do, if people follow you, I know you have like what, 10,000 followers or something. You talk a lot about leaving the profession and just your identity, and like you don't have to do that, right? But you do it because you're inspiring people. And I know that you give back to communities and stuff like that, but that's what life's all about. So I'm really excited for your future. And I think that I love that you've separated your identity. That's just, football was something you did, and that just gives you the story to tell. And that's just one of your stories. You have so many stories yet ahead, and I'm really excited for you. And I'm really honored to have you as my inaugural guest. So thanks for being with me today.
Thank you for having me, Melon. I really appreciate it.
Yay. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And we'll see you on the next episode of Playing to Win.
Playing to Win LLC. Love, leadership, and the courage to begin again. Hosted by Melanie Kenneman. Let's begin.